that juggernaut pitching staff, because the way they're playing right now, they don't deserve to be in the playoffs, let alone win the division. So stop coming at me with, oh, we still have a shot to win the division. Not if you play like this. You do not. You absolutely do not. You are going to get worked by the Dodgers. You are going to get worked by the Astros. You're going to get destroyed by even the struggling Rangers if you play like this. Pure garbage for the last 8-9 days, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Oh, well, they'll figure it out. Oh, no, they'll turn it around. Oh, well, just the pitching staff's better than this. Yeah, they are. That's what makes it so frustrating. But we have gone a full turn through the rotation now and then some, and none of these guys have looked dominant. None of these guys have looked like they, are the all-star quality pitchers we know they can be. Castillo last night, pretty mediocre, pretty mid, considering he went 6 scoreless. Kirby today, stop giving Kirby an out. I don't want to hear, oh, well, he was great for 5 innings. It was just the first inning where he couldn't throw strikes. That's Kirby's whole shtick, is that he throws strikes. So when he walks 2 guys and he hits a guy, I don't want to hear about the pop-up that wasn't caught. Okay, that's garbage. That's an excuse. Don't give Kirby that excuse. When you talk about, oh, well, Scott shouldn't have left him in. Also, Kirby shouldn't have left a fastball down where a guy can get to it, okay? Stop with the excuses. Stop telling, oh, well, Scott's got a bad bullpen or it's a tired bullpen. So he really had to try and stretch George for an extra out after the tying run came to the plate. Why? Why did he have to do that? Garbage performance on this road trip. They're probably going to lose these last 2 games. Get home, figure it out. You need help. You need surgery. Okay, this team is broken right now. They're playing like they're afraid. Remember early in the year when we talked about, oh, hey, this team, they get punched in the mouth and they do not respond. They lay down, they quit, they die. That team's back. We saw the good team in July. We saw the good team in August. So far in September, we've seen a team. Something doesn't go right. They don't get the big hit they need in 1 inning, or they give up the game-tying home run. What do? They roll over and they die. That's what they've done on this road trip. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. This team should be embarrassed. They should feel ashamed of themselves. I can't stand watching them right now because it's just so predictable what's going to happen. Somebody needs to step the hell up and do their job and carry this team, because you know what? I have no confidence this team's even going to make the playoffs. Okay. Let alone win the division. So there you go. I don't want to be doing this show right now. I hate watching this baseball club right now. They're garbage.
You made that very apparent.
They are garbage right now. And now I got to sit through the next 2 games this weekend against 2 of the Rays' best. I'm not going to see Brian Wu. I'm probably going to get to see Tommy Malone or a bullpen day with an already
It's been confirmed.
Bullpen.
It's been confirmed. It's going to be a bullpen day with Weaver getting the bulk of the work.
Oh, sweet. Tired bullpen day. Awesome. Fantastic. Good work there, guys. Good job, Jerry. Sure need to add that starting pitcher at the deadline. No, we got to cover with Emerson Hancock, who's only missed significant time twice with shoulder injuries. What are you doing? Missed opportunities. I'm tired of watching this team play like this. It's incredibly frustrating because they're making stupid mistakes. It's sloppy baseball, and it's been that way for the last 7-8 days. Get your stuff figured out. You're in a freaking pennant race right now. And if you want to, enjoy with the good things that come with the pennant race, then you have to actually want to be here. You actually have to want to win. Because right now you guys are pathetic. Pathetic effort across the board. Bad game plans, bad execution, bad pitching, bad defense, bad offense, bad management. Figure it out. It's gross. It's gross to watch this team right now.
All right, well, we're going to be talking more about this game in just a moment, but first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners post-game show is brought to you by com/LockedOnMLB, or enter promo code LockedOnMLB for a free Bird Dogs water bottle with your order. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off, we promise you. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners post-game show. Thank you again for making us your first listen after the Mariners 7-4 loss to the Tampa Bay Rays, Game 3 of the series. You can catch tomorrow on the Mariners hometown broadcast with SiriusXM via the SXM app. So as we're recording this, the Blue Jays have a 5-2 lead over the Kansas City Royals. The Rangers and A's are tied at 2 apiece, but the Rangers have a runner on third with nobody out in the bottom of the 4th. The Padres are smacking the Astros right now. It's 5-1 in the top of the 5th, and they are, it seems like, threatening for more. So Might not lose a game on them, but looks like you're probably going to lose a game on the Blue Jays, and we'll see about the Rangers and the A's game. But we've got a good old-fashioned mid-off going on right now in the American League playoff race. No one wants to create separation, including the Mariners, as Colby just covered. George Kirby, 6 1/3 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, 5 hits, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks. It was not the George Kirby performance you need. And the starting rotation, look, we talk about this bullpen being taxed. That's because your rotation is not supporting this team in the way that it needs to. Logan Gilbert started in New York. That is the best start you've gotten all road trip. And it's not even close.
Nope.
It's not even close. You need this rotation to be better, significantly better than it's been. Look, I know you're running into some good offenses, or at least, in the case of the Mets, an offense with a lot of talent on the top end. But the Reds also pretty good offense. Rays really good offense. You're not going to have dominant starts every single night. That can't be expected out of your rotation every single night. But you have to be better than this. You have to be better than this because you're putting way too much pressure on your offense, and more importantly, you're putting way too much pressure and putting too much of a workload on your bullpen every single night. You need a 7 or 8 inning start out of one of your horses. Like I'm talking Castillo, I'm talking Kirby. Castillo has been, I know he went 6 scoreless yesterday, but he has to be better. He has to be better than that. He can't be walking 4 guys and running his pitch count up and all that. Kirby can't be walking 2 guys and hitting a batter in the first inning. Can't do that. Can't run 30 pitch inning here, because even when he was cruising from innings 2 through 6, he wasn't going to be able to go beyond that because of what happened in the first inning. So I mean, it's great that he was able to recover for the most part until the wheels kind of came off there at the end. But because of what happened in that first inning, he was not able to do what he needed to do tonight. And again, that's taking some of this weight off of that bullpen. That's where it begins and ends. Again, we can have the discussion about, they're an arm short and all that stuff, and that's totally valid. But at the end of the day, the bullpen right now is in the situation that it's in, not just because of the 13 games and 13 days, but because the starting rotation is letting it down. Let's talk more about this bullpen. I want to talk about Dominic Leone because I think it's time to move on. I've seen enough. I'll explain why in just a moment. But first, a reminder: this episode of the Locked On Mariners postgame show is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can be in on everything from spreads to player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon, that's LOCKDON. Kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners postgame show. Thank you again for making us your first listen after the Mariners 7-4 loss to the Tampa Bay Rays. You can catch Game 3 of this series on the Mariners hometown broadcast of SiriusXM via the SXM app tomorrow. Dominic Leone pitched in this game towards the end in the 8th inning when it was already 6-4 Rays. He wasn't the reason that you lost this game, but he gave up another home run. This is his 3rd outing since returning to the Mariners, and he's given up 4 home runs during that stretch. And that's after really struggling with the long ball, really struggling with giving up hard contact. Look, you took a try, you took a chance on him, kicked the tires on him. You thought maybe you could find something there, figure something out. But it's September 8th. You got to be quick on the draw with these decisions. It's time to move on. And you can't tell me there are not at least 3 or 4 relievers and probably even more in the Mariners organization who give you a better chance than Leone, or just as much of a chance as Leone does right now. It might have a higher ceiling than Leone does. Yeah, he's just not good. Move on.
He's a bum. Just
Yeah,
call it what it is.
he's not good. I just did. He's not good. Like, he sucks. Like, it's just move on. It's fine. Why are you using him over Trent Thornton?
We haven't seen Thornton in like a week.
Didn't he pitch in Cincinnati? Hold on, let me look that up. When was the last time he
It
pitched?
feels like we haven't seen him in a week. After seeing them give him some like mid to high leverage spots too, they just kind of stopped using him. Leon is easily the worst pitcher on your staff right now. It's not remotely close.
Oh wow, we haven't seen him since the 3rd in New York.
Okay, 5 days. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but again, and I don't know why we have to keep on saying this. You cannot and should not be trying to play a 26 versus 23 every single night for an entire season, which the Mariners have done consistently, either on their bench or in their bullpen, or they've carried a guy that they won't use. It's stupid. Why is Matt Brash going to end up with 70 appearances this year? Because you didn't plan for this. Because you decided that you were just going to carry Chris Flexen, even though you weren't going to ever use him for 2 months. Like, it's stupid. You don't need to carry Dominic Leone. He sucks. Get rid of him. If you're not going to use Trent Thornton because you don't trust him or whatever, or he's hurt, put him on the IL and get somebody who can come up and you can trust to pitch, innings. Like, you need somebody that can give you quality innings. That is not Leone. And if Thornton can't do it because either you don't trust him or because he's sick or because he's hurt, you need to send him down. You need to IL him, and you need to get viable arms up to this club. You are playing a man down pretty much every night, and you have been for the entire year. It's so stupid. Leone is a bum. Get rid of him. He's not going to be on your playoff roster. There's a 0% chance. You basically now, tonight was mop-up duty, but even then, it's a 2-run game. You have a shot to win that game. Oh, 3-run game over. Like, you can't waste innings on this guy anymore. And if you just need somebody to like eat a couple innings because you're trying to save the pen for the next couple days, Ryder Ryan can do that, and he can probably do it better.
Riley O'Brien can.
Right.
Even Prolander Baroa can
do it better. I mean, Juan Ten can do it better. Like, Adam Aller can do it better. Tommy Malone can do it better. Like, stop wasting any innings on guys who are scrubs. Like, it didn't work. And if you DFA Leone and you want him to stick around, he's not getting claimed. Are you kidding? He sucks. He's not getting claimed. So you just put him down in AAA, and if he doesn't want to come back, who cares? What have you lost?
Yeah, the fact that he fell all the way to you in the waiver order means that no other team was
other contender was interested. So you took a shot. Good for you. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. You understand why they took the shot? Sure. Of course. Yeah. It didn't work.
There was something interesting there with the slider and all that.
And you could take a shot on him again this winter. Sign him to a minor league deal. Give him an invite to spring training. Give him, what you actually want him to work on, and give him a winter and a spring to work on it. In the middle of a pennant race is not the time to be like, hey, well, no, we're going to keep trying this because the slider might be good eventually. No, stop it.
Yeah.
You are wasting opportunities. Yeah,
it's September 8th. You got to make the decisions quick. And
you're a half game out of the first place of your division as of now, a game back, I think.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. You cannot waste opportunities. Stop giving bad players opportunities. It's go time, okay? We have reached this. It's no longer a marathon. It is a dead sprint to the finish line. Get that through your head. Start playing better, or you're going to cramp out at mile 23 and not finish. Figure it out. It's beyond frustrating at this point. Just it's Michael looking at Toby saying, I hate everything. I hate the person you choose to be, or whatever. Like, that is where we have reached in the last week. I would be absolutely floored if the Mariners won one game out of these next two and got out of there with a split. I would be absolutely shocked.
That's going to do it for our show. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners postgame show. I know it was kind of a depressing one. Colby Patnode, I'm Ty Dane Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at @LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Dane Gonzalez, that's CANEGNZLZ, and Colby at CPAT11, that's CPAT11.
haven't seen it, and it looks like trash and fuck.
It's the Opie and Anthony Show.
Out of any other medium have to be nice. We are being now held to a standard where we have to be nice and make people feel good. Go screw!
Radio bad boys, Opie and Anthony.
Controversial radio personalities, Opie and Anthony. Infamous DJs, Opie and Anthony.
Talk show radio hosts, Opie and Anthony.
Opie and Anthony. Opie and Anthony. Radio shock jocks, Opie and Anthony. Opie and Anthony. Shock jocks, Opie and Anthony. Shock jocks, Opie and Anthony. Opie and Anthony. Shock jocks, Opie and Anthony. Opie and Anthony.
There was some dude who liked horses and liked the radio show and named his horses after us.
And then let them starve.
And let him starve? Great.
Kind of like what we're doing to the listeners, starving them of entertainment.
They are sick freaks. Bobby, please look. There's one part we want you to see. That's easy. Oh, you okay?
Where entertainment is going.
These guys are watching porn.
Oh, Jesus. What are you talking about?
We're done. We're out.
What just goes down?
It's time for people to understand these are words. If you don't like them, turn the dial.
But enough of this palaver. Let's get the show on the road.
Hi, we're back with the Opie and Anthony program.
I'm trying to eat.
Huh?
I'm trying to eat.
Jimmy just fucking set me off in bullshit.
Yeah, well, you annoyed me too, so I guess we're human.
No, it's bullshit, bro.
Say what you want to say, but I'm not some idiot. Like, you're annoyed at me, I'm annoyed at you. It's life.
Basically, he thinks we blew off Sean Rouse last week. Because
No, you.
I didn't blow off Sean Rouse.
What happened?
Huh?
What happened?
Yoshi's here and the dude from Slap Happy, and Jimmy's like a little up to, are we gonna get him on the air? I'm like, yeah, eventually we'll get him on the air. I'm not like, whoa, let's stop the show and get these guys in immediately. And he's like, well, you know, you have a tendency to make people wait outside, and then they eventually come in, and then, you know, blah, blah, blah. Tough shit.
Is that the way I did it? Did I just whine at you like that?
Yeah, you did whine
Okay.
at me.
Yeah,
and then you're like, Sean Rouse came all the way up here to do the show, and you don't even thank him at the end of the show.
Yeah, you don't.
Like, I had a personal problem with Sean Rouse.
I didn't say you had a personal problem. I just thought it was something that
Sean Rouse opened up for you in Atlantic City. You asked, you know, you want Sean on the show Monday? I'm like, yeah. I didn't know he was driving
you
to
said,
it.
hell yeah.
Yeah, because I like the guy.
I
I think the guy's a really funny comic. I met him when we were on hiatus in Dallas. He's a really funny guy. We've never done the show with him. So I said, yeah, sure. I didn't, first of all, know that he was driving 2.5 hours north just to do the radio show. Second of all, we booked him last second. We had a lot happening that day. So then you're like, well, you didn't have to go to the Joey Paisano phone call. Well, first of all, that's a judgment call.
I don't talk like that.
That's a judgment call. I went to the
it is.
Joey Paisano call, and it was good radio. It was about gambling and addiction. You thought it stunk.
No, I didn't say it stunk. If I thought it stunk, I would tell you I thought it stunk. I didn't say it stunk.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
I could have waited till the next day because it wasn't something that because he was only here for one day. I didn't say it stunk. If I thought it stunk, I'd tell you that.
Then you sit here and try to make this.
See, that's not a
make
valid
this
argument.
happen.
If I disagree with something, then don't ask people to voice their opinion.
Dude, I have to make judgment calls every fucking day. These guys, everyone produces stuff for us and throws it in front of Anthony and I. And then Anthony and I pick away and go, well, we'll try this, we'll try that.
Right.
Well, this guest is here, we'll try that. All right? And that's how this show works, always.
I understand
But you
that.
think there's some kind of underlying thing that we're purposely making people wait outside the studio.
No, I don't.
Sean Rouse came in.
I never
we
thought
talked to him for 10 minutes.
Don't say you think I think that because I don't think that.
Yeah,
don't
you
say
did.
I would say it. I'm not,
You
I
said-
would say it. If
Dude,
I thought there was an underlying thing,
You
I
don't
would
think
say
guys
it.
have come to me, but you know, after the show and said, you know, Jimmy's all pissed off because Sean Rouse waited outside, Bill Burr waited outside, Patrice waited outside.
I wasn't here when Patrice waited outside yet. How are you saying that? I wasn't here. You see, you're making this up as you go along. I wasn't here, Ope.
All right, it was Bill Burr then. Bill Burr, you
When
can
did
play.
he wait outside? I don't remember Bill Burr waiting outside.
Then I'm getting wrong information. They said that you were pissed off that you brought Bill Burr in and he had to wait outside because he's a big comic.
When? What I was pissed off about was Sean. Had nothing to do with him waiting outside. Had nothing to do with you going to the Dane Cook Bob Kelly phone call, which made perfect sense.
Yeah, but we pulled that out of our ass. We didn't know that was going to be good radio.
It was just the guy.
I never know, dude. Where
I understand the process. I understand it.
And
I'm sitting here with you. I know it.
And unfortunately, I'm kind of like the point guard. I have to make judgment calls, okay? We went to the Dane Cook phone call, and it worked out fine. We went to the Joey Paisano phone call. It worked out fine. And I didn't feel like it could wait because it happened while we were in Atlantic City.
Well,
we were doing a whole Atlantic City thing. Sean Rouse came in. I talked to him. It was mediocre, average radio at best. He didn't stink, but he wasn't giving us much of anything. So I moved on with the program, and then if he could, find his spot, he should jump in. That's how the show works.
Jumping in
Well,
because
I can't sit around and wait for someone to be comfortable.
Well, then don't tell somebody 2 years
on.
ago that you're dying to get him on the air, and don't tell them, yeah, I'd love to have you on the air, and then talk to him for a couple of minutes. Dude, it's not like I just drag the guy in off the street and go, hey, talk to these guys. They have a radio show. You're the one that mentioned him coming on. You're the one that invited him.
But just because someone is invited on the show doesn't mean it's going to be a guarantee that he's going to get a lot of airtime.
But he wasn't doing a bad job.
It was okay, Jim. There was nothing going on. I set him up with a couple things, and he was like, yeah, he was slow. As far as the rhythm of a radio show, he was just trying to figure it all out. So we sat him over there, and we moved on with the show with other things.
And you don't even thank the guy at the end. That was a total blow-off.
So what does that mean? I was blowing someone off?
It was rude.
Don't fucking say blow off.
That's what it is. Well, you're misquoting
That's
me.
Bullshit.
You're saying I complained about Billy Burr and Patrice. I wasn't even here when Patrice first came in.
I don't blow off people that I like. Sean Rouse, I like. I didn't purposely blow him off.
You can call it whatever you want.
That means at the end of the show, I probably ran out of time and forgot to thank him. There was a lot of shit going on that day.
Okay, so we talked to him for a couple minutes, didn't talk to him for the rest of the show, and then didn't thank him at the end. Nothing. Just like, yeah, you even said at one point, hey, we're hanging with Chris Jericho. Understand he's a big guest.
That's how it works sometimes.
The guy is sitting
right
here.
That's how it works.
The guy is sitting
That's
right
how
here.
it works sometimes.
Okay, that's how it works. It's not a blow-off. What is
How many times in the old days did you come in and it was dice and we got to you when we could?
Understandable.
That's how it happens.
When I was a regular on the show.
So next time,
But you'd never ignore me. You would always say Jim Norton's in studio.
So what do you think the problem was, Jim?
I think you should have at least thanked the guy at the end.
So you think I had some kind of personal problem with Sean
No,
Rouse?
if I thought that, I would say it. I don't
So
think
what do you
that.
think the problem was?
It was just a bad decision, and I said that to you off air. Like, I mean, because whatever. I didn't say you don't know how to run a radio show.
You don't.
I didn't say that.
You're funny and you're a good part of the show, but where I sit, you don't know what's going on.
I don't try to know what's going on. You're the boss. We all know you're the boss.
I have to make calls all the time.
I don't want to be the boss.
And sometimes, unfortunately, it's going to work out like the Sean Rouse situation. Oh, well.
Well, then don't ask people to give you input if you don't like the input.
I didn't. You said it.
No, many times you say, hey, let me know what you think, blah, blah, blah. Many times you said that.
I didn't. It came out because you have something in your head, like you have a problem with some of these guys waiting. You're like,
no,
well,
I don't have a problem with people waiting.
Is Yoshi and the guy from Slap Happy coming in? I'm like, yeah, eventually, but personally, I'm getting sick of all the porn bullshit.
Right, and you said that yesterday, and the two
you're like,
people...
come on, man, Yoshi's a funny comic. And I'm like, well, get to him.
And the people we had yesterday gave great radio.
So, yeah, but you don't know. I've had a million porn stars on the show that stunk.
So Amanda Pete stunk. You're not sick of celebrities, are you?
You never know.
She was awful.
Yeah, I didn't want Amanda Pete on the show. I could care less about Amanda Pete. That was set up by the booker. That's why we went after her and talked about her stupid, awful tits. I don't care about Amanda Pete. The fucking movie came out, the reviews are in, and the movie stinks. Who cares?
Whatever.
But you don't know. You don't know what you plunk down the phone, you get a guest in here, and you hope for the best.
I know all that, but if somebody says something like, hey, man, I would rather do this or I didn't like this, you can't go, hey, look, you don't sit where I sit. That's a cop-out. It's like,
not
don't pull
a cop-out.
It is a cop-out because
if you thought Sean Rouse wasn't really fitting in and stuff, you're part of the show. You could have tried to, get him more involved.
I didn't feel like he wasn't fitting in because you run the show. I know that. I'm not stupid. It doesn't mean I can't say something I didn't like.
Dude, but if it's not going in a direction and you think you can help out, then you jump in. Then that's your job to jump in.
So, it's my job to jump in. But hold on, but off air if I say something, and it wasn't like a nasty fuck you remark. Off air if I say something, hey, don't do that, you're gonna piss me off. It's like you can't have it both ways. Don't tell me you can jump in or you can do this, and then not say anything off the air because I don't come in as early as you do, and I don't know where you sit. You can't have it both ways.
You could jump in at any time. The Sean Rouse thing was average radio at best. Anthony and I can't sit here and wait for radio gold from Sean Rouse.
No, I know. I'm talking about...
You know how many people out there were killed for 10 minutes on this radio show? He got 10 minutes. It was okay. Next time he's in New York, we'll throw him on again if he's not too pissed, Jimmy. And we'll see what happens next.
He didn't say anything.
And then we'll see what happens
next. I just watched you. The guy come in and not get
10 fucking minutes on the show is a long fucking time.
You're right.
All right?
You did him a great favor.
So what am I supposed to do?
Thanks for coming in, Sean. It was nice to have you.
Should we do a Barbara Walters fucking interview with him for
how
a
about
half
just
hour?
Common courtesy, a guy you've invited on 2 years ago, to go, hey, man, thanks a lot for coming in. How about that?
I said thanks off air.
No, you didn't.
Off air, I said goodbye to the guy.
All right. Okay, off air, you say goodbye to him.
So I have a problem with Sean Rouse.
I never said you had a problem with Sean Rouse. Stop misquoting me. Stop misquoting me.
Then what's the big deal that he didn't get a proper goodbye on the air? You're insane.
I'm not insane.
What's the big deal?
You're the one you were raving about what a great comic you think he is, how you wanted him to come on.
What is rude about forgetting to say goodbye to a guy when there's
Oh,
so
nothing,
much...
nothing.
Dude, when there's so much shit going on.
What was going on?
Chris Jericho
was
is here. I think we had something that we had to do after the show, you know. Make sure the show ends on time and in a nice fashion.
That's a lot of shit going on?
I don't know, dickhead, because I don't know what was going on that day, fuckface.
Oh, don't get all angry and yell. You can't say you want me to voice my opinion and then get so pissed off when I voice my opinion.
You're insane.
I'm not insane.
You are insane.
No, I'm not.
You're insane at times.
No, I'm not.
So Sean Rouse didn't get the proper goodbye. Oh, well, it happens.
Okay.
It happens.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
You can sit here and try to figure it out.
See?
You can. Because you have all these opinions how it's supposed to work.
All these opinions? I fucking never say things I don't like on the show.
Let's get Yoshi in.
I never have problems with things that are going on the show.
We'll get Yoshi in eventually, no problem. We'll fit him into the show.
If you would have said that, I never would have even thought about it. You didn't say that, though.
What did I say?
I don't know, man. I don't know. The porn chant. It was a big thing. You didn't go, yeah, man, we'll get to him in a little while. Okay.
That's bullshit. I said we'll get to him eventually.
It's bullshit? It's not bullshit.
It's
you didn't
bullshit.
say it. If you would have said it like that,
I didn't say that we're not getting these guys in. I'm like, yeah, we'll get to them. But I'm not obsessed with porn like you and Steve. Like, oh, God, more porn people. You know, you guys get all excited. Can't wait to get some pictures and stuff. Who cares? Who cares? We're trying to do a fucking radio show.
I know what we're trying to do. I'm sitting here across from you. I understand that. I understand you're trying to do a radio show. I know that.
Jimmy, fucking pissing me off.
Well, you're pissing me off, too.
When you say, you know, that I blew someone off, that is bullshit.
Okay.
That is simple bullshit.
I didn't
purposely try to blow someone off that I like. There are guys I hate, and yeah, I'll go right after them. But Sean Rouse, I didn't purposely blow him off.
Didn't say you purposely
I didn't blow him off.
Okay, you
all right?
phrase it any way you want.
If I forgot to say goodbye on the air, who cares?
Okay, no one cares.
In the end, who the fuck cares?
So he traveled 2.5 hours north and then took the train. My point is we shouldn't have had him if that was the way it was going to go. You shouldn't have had him in.
Dude, it's going to happen again. To somebody.
Then you book
It's just
them.
how
Don't
the radio
ask me to
show
get
goes.
comics.
That's
I don't want to get comics.
Then don't get comics,
I don't
Jimmy.
want to. You have access to the same people I have.
Then don't get comics. Why? Because you're personally hurt that someone has to wait out there because we're doing other radio?
No, but it would annoy me if I didn't say wait out there. That's not what I said. You keep misquoting me.
I did not. You're like...
Yes, you did. You said I got pissed off when Patrice had to wait, and I wasn't even here for that.
All right, then I apologize for that. But you did say something about Bill Burr waiting, too. But that was another day. That was a lot going on.
I do not remember that.
That was a lot. There was a lot going on that day.
When have I been mad about somebody waiting because there was a lot going on?
Huh?
When? When have I ever said, fucking stop what we're doing and bring so-and-so in? When?
Dude, you said Bill Burr had to wait. You said Sean Rouse had to wait.
I didn't. You said Bill Burr. I didn't say Bill Burr.
Bring Ben in here.
Get Ben. I didn't say Bill Burr.
I
don't remember the Bill Burr thing.
What?
I don't remember the Bill Burr thing.
Holy shit.
What?
I'm sure Ben just went, holy shit. Ben's involved. Yeah, I'm still here.
Is he obsessed with people waiting outside?
You were upset the first time.
Thank you.
Said this was a long time ago. But
thank you.
But I'm not getting them.
Obsessed? That's obsessed? When did Bill? I don't remember Bill Burr.
It was a long time ago. You were said we got to get him in faster.
You said
it was a long
you
time
said we
ago.
have to get some of these guests in faster. Well, that's great. But if we have something going on, we're not going to stop the fucking radio show to get a guy in who could easily wait a little longer out there because it's very valuable airtime.
That's a fair point.
It's a privilege.
That's a fair point. But what was going on? I don't remember the Bill Burr.
If I'm some kind of I don't remember the Bill.
I don't remember what was
happening that day.
So why mention it? Why not just stick to what we were talking about?
Because it's part of the whole fucking thing. You get uptight because some of these guys have to wait to get
how
on
do
the
you
show.
know that I wasn't right about the Bill Burr thing if neither one of us remembered what was going on?
Sitting outside the Opie and Anthony show, I'll wait 4 hours to fucking get 5 minutes of airtime.
How do you know that I'm wrong about the Bill Burr thing if neither you or I can remember what was going on that day?
You are wrong about the Bill Burr thing is because I know he's a funny guy and we want to work him into the show, but obviously something else was going on.
Okay, so you're saying I'm wrong
Anthony and I thought was much more important, so we made him sit out there a little longer.
So there's no way, because neither one of us can remember it, so automatically I have to be wrong about it because
you were obsessed that he was waiting outside.
I'm obsessed. I didn't even remember it. I'm obsessed.
Well,
I didn't even remember it.
Ben remembered?
Ben remembers a lot of things. Ben remembers that we're getting, Dennis Leary and Lenny Clark in studio in Boston. Doesn't matter.
You don't know how a show works, and then you have these stupid opinions. It's simple
I'm sorry,
as that.
I had an opinion. So what? You're right. I don't know how a show works. That's why I roll in when I roll in. I don't pretend to know how a show works.
Just don't bring any comedians in anymore.
No remarks. Believe me, I'll just do my job. No remarks.
No
remarks off the air. You're right. You're right.
But you're
right.
You're sounding insane that I didn't like say goodbye to Sean Rouse on the air. Holy shit, are you kidding me?
It was rude.
I don't even remember my name at the end of the show sometimes. There's so much going on. Relax.
You still should have said goodbye to the guy.
Why? What does that prove to the listener?
That's a listener, just a guy that comes in. He travels 2.5 hours north.
I said
You've been
thank you
inviting him
after
for
the
2
show.
years. You've been inviting
The
2
show
years.
ends and we take our photos with Chris Jericho and we walk around the studio. We thank some of the guys for bringing whatever they brought to the table. I said goodbye to Sean Rouse. Good. I said goodbye to Sean.
Okay, good.
So I didn't do it on the air. That's the big deal?
No, and you know that's not what I'm saying.
Yes,
you know that's
is
not
it?
what I'm saying.
Then what is it?
Because you just blew him off. You didn't address him at all. Hey, we're hanging with Chris
Don't
Jericho.
say I blew him off.
Okay, it's the words that bother you. Stop with the semantics. Whatever you did, he just sat there.
So, it happens. It happens every day on this show. It's happened a million times on the show over the years.
And have I ever complained about it? Have I ever said to you, blah, blah, no, yes or no? No.
Dude, it started because of Yoshi and Brandon outside, and I'm like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, we'll get to him. You're like, well, I don't want him waiting out too long.
That's not the way it happened. You didn't just say.
Why'd you even invite him in? I'm like,
you didn't
we'll get to him eventually.
You didn't say we'll get to him, and I panicked. That's not the way it happened. That's dishonest. It's not the way it happened, dude. It's not the way it happened.
Whatever.
Okay.
Whatever.
Not the way it happened.
Whatever. You gotta calm down.
I'm very calm.
You gotta calm down. You really do.
Hey, look, you're the boss, brother. Everybody knows you're the boss. I'm not challenging that.
No, that's not what I'm getting at.
Of course that's what you're getting at.
No, of course it's not what I'm getting at, Jimmy. Of course it's not. You know, we all have a say in the show, and if you thought something was going on with Sean Rouse, you could jump in and try to make it happen. It wasn't happening. Do you understand? It wasn't happening.
So I can jump in and
the guy's funny.
So I can jump in and try to make it happen, but I can't mention it to you off air because you're gonna freak out and go, you sit here and do what I do. So again, you want it both ways. I can jump in and make it happen, become part of the show, but I can't mention it to you off the air. And I didn't call you up screaming.
It's been a thing going on. That's why this happened on the air. That you're obsessed with people waiting outside.
Why do you
the
keep
studio.
saying obsessed? You don't want to say blown up. Why are you saying obsessed?
You said about these guys today. You said about
Bill.
I
reacted
about
to what
Sean
you
Rouse.
said. I don't remember Sean Rouse.
You brought the Sean Rouse.
Bill.
I thought the Sean Rouse thing was fine, but when I mentioned Brandon and Yoshi coming in, and I'm like, I'm sick of the porn thing, but we'll make it work. You're like, you know,
Not the way you said it, dude. Come on, Opus.
Basically, I did, asshole.
No, it's not the way you said it, brother. It's not the way you said it.
I'll start recording everything I say, so it's perfect for you.
No, but I'm going to react to what's appropriate when somebody speaks to me. It's not the way you said it.
What did I say about Brandon and Yoshi?
You're like,
what did I say?
I guess we'll get him in. I don't know. I'm just sick of
the
porn thing.
Then why do we invite him, man? Why do we invite him?
Yeah, exactly. If you don't want people, why invite them? It's a very valid question.
Because the show's not all about me. I understand there's a value to these guys, but it doesn't mean I'm going to, bring the good radio when these guys come in. All right? I hated those girls coming in yesterday.
But they were great.
It turned out it was great. You're right. Because Anthony found an angle.
I was brilliant, but why?
That's the only reason it was great. Anthony found an angle.
Understandable.
On paper, that looked like that was going to fucking suck, okay?
Well,
on paper, Sean Rouse looked like it was going to be really good radio. Guess what? It wasn't, Jimmy.
It wasn't bad radio.
It was average radio best, and when you have a lot of other stuff going on, you have to keep moving on, keep trying to find, the next thing that's going to hit with the listeners. That's how the show always has worked.
And I know, I don't understand.
And these guys will come in, and they'll either stink or they'll do good radio. I don't know. Which is fine. I don't know. But that started the whole thing like, oh, why are you inviting them in? If you're going to make them wait or you're not going to have them on.
If you're not going to have them on.
And then you're like, and the same thing happened with Sean Rouse last week. And I know for a fact you said something about Bill Burr.
I don't remember. If I did, I would admit it to you. I don't remember it. But you don't remember it either. Neither one of us remembers why he had to wait. I'm being honest. I don't remember that.
He had to wait because the show was happening. That's
how
the only reason.
That's what it was? I don't. Maybe you're right.
That's because I know that's how it works.
Okay,
Jimmy.
so you win that point of the argument
I'm
because you know.
I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, well, the show really sucks today, but, I'm on a power trip, so I'm going to just let
Never said you were on a power trip.
Shut up.
No, I'm not going to shut up.
I'm exaggerating.
Oh, well, all right, well, then don't make it look like you're quoting me.
And I'm going to, stare out the window and just look at Bill Burr when maybe we could use him and to make better radio. Mm-hmm. Obviously, something was happening, because I know how I approach the show every day.
Okay, so...
There are guys out there, I see them waiting, I'm like, wow, I would love to get them in, but I know what we're doing at that given moment is really good, so instead of stopping the whole fucking thing to get something else going, you got to ride these things out. That's how it works. That's how it always has worked. Right. So if Bill Burr was sitting out there, that just meant that something else was going on that was really hitting that day.
But neither one of us remembers it, so you'll win that part of the argument on point. And all of a sudden I'm obsessed because I mentioned Bill Burr had to win. I don't remember mentioning that.
Yeah, because this is unfortunately the part of the show that I have to worry about every day. Mm-hmm. There was no other reason why he was sitting out there. But that there was probably something really good happening in the studio. Simple as that. That's the only reason.
And I understood when Sean came in.
That's the only reason.
When Sean came in and you went to the Dane Cook Hall, the Bob Kid, I definitely understood that. It was what happened once.
But you're still not getting it.
I get it.
No,
I comprehend it. I don't agree.
No, you're not.
I get it,
You're still not getting it.
That's arrogant. I do get it.
We could have went to the Dane Cook phone call and that could have blown. You're like, well, I understand why we went there. Really? Why?
Because
that could have sucked.
No. You want to ask me a question? Let me answer it. Bob's a regular on the show. I understood why you're going to it. The guy got hurt. Dane's calling in. Dane's the guy we wanted to get on the show. You've been saying you wanted Dane on the show. Then we got Dane on the show. I definitely understood why you went to it.
But just because we wanted both those guys on, that could have sucked.
It could have, but I understood why you went with it. I mean, you're making my point.
Jim,
I understood
Jim
why you
Brew,
went
the
with
past,
that.
and Dice, you know, there were times they gave us shitty radio. Just because you know Dice is coming in doesn't mean we're going to have great radio.
Understandable. No one is saying
so
that.
for you to say, I understood why you went to the Bob Kelly call, really?
Yeah.
What if we went there and it sucked?
I still would have understood why you went there.
All right, and you don't understand why you went to the Joey Paisano call?
Not saying I didn't understand. I'm saying once Sean was in studio and talking, and you wanted to make that decision, that's your call. Okay, fine. But then to not address him at all for the rest of the show.
My God, we should find the Sean Rouse audio.
Through going to break.
We should find the audio.
You're asking me, and I'm explaining my point of view. From going to break and saying, hey, we're hanging with Chris Jericho, not even mentioning the guy, and at the end of the show, not even thanking him for coming in. That's what I was talking about.
Tough shit.
Okay, that's your answer. Tough
shit.
I say what I say, you say tough shit.
Did I thank him after the show?
I don't know what you did.
That's all that matters.
You say you did.
That's all that matters.
I'll believe you.
Because we developed these relationships for the radio show.
Okay.
If I forgot to thank the guy at the end of the show, tough shit.
Okay,
it happens.
Shit. Okay, I say what I say, you say tough shit.
It happens.
Okay. I know it happens. I was here when it happened.
I remember what was going on that day. Chris Jericho, the whole reason, the one thing he asked, he goes, dudes, you know, I love doing radio with you guys, but if you could, you know, play my song or a part of my song, that's all I want. And I knew we were running out of time. We were supposed to play the whole song. All of a sudden, there was, I don't know, less than 2 minutes left. And I'm like, holy crap, we got to get to the song because we promised.
I know.
Because I tried it. When we promise someone something, I try to oblige. So all of a sudden, I'm like, all right, hit the song. We got to get out of here. Chris Jericho, thanks for coming by. Here's Enemy. It was just a really rush job end of a radio show.
I remember it, and I understood
and
why
that's
you had
the
to play
whole fucking reason why Sean didn't get a thank you.
How come he didn't get, like, it's just a thing we do. When I've been in this show long enough, when you're talking about who's in studio, you're like, all right, man, we're hanging here with Chris Jericho. Blah, blah. It's just the way you say things. When you're saying, like, yeah, we're hanging here with Chris Jericho, and the guy's just sitting there, and you don't even acknowledge him. And I'm not talking about at the end of the show, and then at the end of the show.
Give some people a little more respect than others, too. Chris Jericho is Sean's known all over the world.
So what?
And he came in.
But then, I know you guys like Jericho, and he's a good guest.
And eventually, maybe we would have got back to Sean or not. In that case, we didn't get back to Sean Rouse.
I'm not even talking about getting back to him. I'm not even talking about getting back to him.
Oh, my God.
But don't say, hey, you can jump in because you're a part of the show, and then the other thing, get really pissed off if I say something off air. You can't have it both ways.
No, it's bullshit, Jimmy. I think it's a cop-out when you're like, you have all these opinions off air, but...
What, all these opinions? What do you mean, all these opinions?
You got these...
I want to know what you mean, all these opinions.
You got this,
I want to know what you
got this microphone in front of you. If you thought you could help the Sean Rouse situation, then start fucking talking.
What do you mean, all these opinions?
And fucking talk.
I want to know what you mean.
No, that's it.
I'd like to know what you mean. That's a fair question. All these opinions, what?
All the opinions...
I love the way this show is going.
Dude,
what are you
I
talking
don't feel
about?
like getting into all the other bullshit with thinking everyone down in Washington is trying to, sidetrack the show and the marketing is not there.
Are you telling me that's me? Oh my God.
I turned the corner. Wow. I turned the corner. I think they're now doing a really good job in Washington. You still think Gary Hahn is purposely fucking... Dude, did you just say that...
Let's not change subjects. Stick to the basic gist of what you guys
You're saying that I'm the one who thinks that things aren't getting done?
You're convinced Hugh Pinero hates the show, right?
I'm not convinced that Hugh
I know
hates
for
the
a
show.
fact that he likes the show, okay?
I know for a fact. Show. Are you really on the air trying to throw me under the bus with Hugh Pinero?
Well, now if you want to fuck around, Jimmy, let's fuck.
I'll fuck around.
Let's fuck around.
Go ahead. I say what I have to say on the air.
All your opinions, right?
Yeah, my opinion is this: that they are worried about the show. I've been saying this since day one.
It's wrong now.
Well, let me finish my opinions. That they're worried about the show.
It's wrong.
And I was right about the advertisers coming off the premium. I was right about that. Wasn't I? And one of the reasons that they wanted us that the advertiser would start coming once we came off the premium. That was the reason they wanted to get us off the premium. I knew that. I knew the fact that that was one of the reasons they were going to take us off the premium, is because advertisers were coming saying we will not go while they're on premium, but we'll go once they're off premium because the show is succeeding. I was right about that.
That was part of it.
And I was right about I was right about the whole marketing thing, which hasn't happened. I was right about it. And you thought the same thing. But now you're acting like I'm paranoid. I'm thinking that. How can you? That's disingenuous.
Nah, forget it.
Come on, dude. How could you say that? How could you say that? I'm paranoid and I have issues. How could you say that just to win an argument?
Oh, my God. You want to talk to some of the guys around paranoid and have issues?
Wow.
You want to talk to Eric Logan? You want to talk? They're like, Jimmy's out of his fucking
mind.
Really?
So I was wrong about when that letter went out. When that letter went out and you guys weren't mentioned in the rate hike, I was wrong to say that was hiding the show?
Dude,
you bought that spin? Come on,
the
dude.
explanation
Wow.
the explanation I got, yeah, I believed it. I believed it.
Then you and I are different people.
I definitely believe it.
Then you believe
I definitely believe it.
You believe that they just didn't want us associated with the raid
I
hype.
definitely believe
because when you have a big show on the air, you don't want people to make it look like, hey, you're getting something good for nothing.
I definitely believe it. Do I agree with that decision? No, but I definitely believe it. I definitely believe that was their logic in that. Yes, without a doubt.
Okay.
I think it was the wrong decision. I thought we should have been involved with that letter, but I believe their their logic.
Right. No, you're right.
I believe.
You turned the corner, and I'm paranoid. You're right. You're absolutely right.
I believe.
I'm the one who's thinking that nothing's getting done, and you've turned the corner. Okay.
I think things are getting done.
I agree, actually, in some areas.
I was the number one, guy bitching on the show, but now I've turned the corner.
So really, why didn't you tell me?
I think Washington's now doing a good job for the show. Definitely.
Okay. Well, why didn't you say this when I was complaining about the read that you guys got? I saw what that was. You saw the same thing. You agreed with it. You didn't tell me you didn't agree with it.
We weren't gonna do that. We were not gonna do that. You ass.
No. I'm saying you didn't tell me you didn't agree with it.
The shadow blocking.
People. Come on now.
No. The motives.
The issue.
The motives behind the reading. I'm saying the motives behind the reading. When they sent you that. When they sent you that paper. When I went crazy
for the TV spot.
Yeah. When I went crazy because of the script they gave you, because I knew the motives behind it were to mention channel blocking. You didn't disagree with me on that.
What are you talking about? We weren't going to read the thing
I'm not
about
saying
channel
you were
blocking.
No. You're missing.
Oh, you thought that?
I know why that was in there.
No. See, that's your paranoia again. I totally disagree.
I said that on the air. Why didn't you call me out on the air?
I totally did. Because then I make some phone calls down to Washington and I see where their head's at. You left right after the show. Eric Logan talked to Anthony and I for a while about it, and I believed their explanation. I believed it. They were trying to be funny with it, and it didn't work. And that was the email that Gary Hahn sent to me that I sent to you, basically saying, look, this was our attempt at humor, and it failed miserably. That was the only reason they did the whole channel blocking thing. I believe their explanation, yes. Call me crazy. I totally believe it.
Okay, good for you.
I totally believe it.
Absolutely. And actually, you might be right. But
I totally believe it now.
The fact that you would actually
at the point you made a good the other day you made a good point, but then I'm like, all right, well, I got to call Washington and see what this is all about.
Just the fact
and the explanation they gave me, I believe it.
The fact
yes.
that you would make it look paranoid that I've been pissed off at the way certain things go is mind-boggling to me. It's mind-boggling to me.
You got to calm down a little bit.
There's
some paranoia. You were still bitching about the advertising for the show while we're in the papers that day.
Yes, I was.
We're on the back page of the New York Post on the sports section, a really nice ad, and that day you were still bitching about the marketing.
And I acknowledged the fact that was good. You said you like about that stuff, and I'm like, yeah, you're right, that is good. That was good. I was talking about the TV commercial and the dialogue in the TV commercial, and you know that's what I was talking about. You know that's what I was talking about. I was talking about the dialogue they gave you, that little thing about, maybe they were going for a humor thing. If that had been one or two of the lines, I would have definitely understood that. But the fact that every single line mentioned channel block. You're the one that was saying no one's running this channel. We didn't get this stuff sent to us.
I totally agree with that, too. But we're taking care of that situation,
too. How can you say that I'm the one who's thinking that we're not thinking about getting done?
They went with this angle of channel blocking. So then they had 6 or 7 different versions because they thought that might make for a good spot. That's all that was about.
And had
they had one idea. They had one idea. Like, you know what? These guys talk about channel blocking in a sarcastic, dry way. This could make a good TV spot. They were absolutely wrong. But
I would have agreed with you.
That was the only motive. That was the only motive they had doing that. And I truly believe that now.
Well, then you know
what? Because I talked to everybody down there.
Okay, then this is
unless they're all
if you're right,
fucking with me.
If you're right,
then
this is the case. Then of a guy who's been caught cheating on his wife 8 times, and one time he comes back with glitter on his collar, and it's legitimately there because he hugged a relative, and she thinks he was cheating again. He goes, no, I wasn't cheating. It's the same type of a vibe. So you can't call the wife paranoid for thinking the husband cheated.
Jimmy, I'm involved with these guys in Washington a lot. I encourage you to talk to Eric Logan because you do.
I do talk to Logan. I like him.
You don't talk to him a lot. I talk to the guy every day, and I'm just saying some of the things you have problems with. You should get on the phone with him, and you'd be more at ease. Is what I'm saying.
What are you saying that I have problems with that's so crazy or paranoid? I don't think the show's been advertised properly. They were afraid of the show, dude, and I was right about that.
They were taking a slow approach. I understood that. Believe it or not, I understood it from the beginning.
Oh my God!
This show in October, I didn't want the whole fucking country to know about. Anthony and I were getting our chemistry back together. I was okay with no national spots.
You're making
I really were,
dude. Oh, you're making it look. Like you're comfortable with the way things have gone, and I'm this crazy person person
Not
who's
crazy.
screaming for more. Come
No,
on, dude.
we've
That's
all
ridiculous.
screamed and yelled and had our problems here.
You were
Yes.
yelling 2 days ago.
Huh?
You're yelling 2 days ago.
Because I didn't know. You brought up a good point, and then I'm like, wow, you might be right about this. Okay, sure. But then after the show, I called and I got an explanation. I believe what they had to say.
And you also believe the explanation of why Open Ant were not mentioned in the XM letter.
Completely believe it.
Just because you didn't want to be associated with the Red Hike.
I don't agree with it, but I completely believe their logic in that.
So it
Of
wasn't that
course.
they're a little afraid of the show, and maybe even justifiably so, considering what's
Dude, if
happening.
they're still afraid of the show, they would just keep us on premium. Don't you get it?
No, because of advertising. No. Because certain sponsors want to come aboard the show, just be a part of it, and have us
Dude,
go out and do things.
No, wrong.
I think that they realize the
Wrong.
show is
Wrong.
moving in a different direction.
We don't have a lot of advertisers to begin with. No one, there's not a lot of guys jumping on board, and the rate for a commercial is so minimal. They're not going to make any money anytime soon on that.
That was
They're just not.
The advertising guy said that the advertisers want to come aboard. They want to be a part of the show.
Sure,
once we're on
that's
basic.
part of it. That's
Once we're
part
on
of
basic.
it.
Well, then how come you
That's
make it
part
look
of
like
it.
it's not? You
That's
tell me
just
no.
one part of it, though. But if they were really worried about the show, they would just keep it on premium and let it
Okay,
go
so
that way.
you think that they've been very comfortable with the show and they've been pushing the show properly? And I'm this crazy person who doesn't think that. I don't
honestly,
buy it,
no.
dude.
I think things have gotten better, though.
I never said they didn't.
I think they wanted to take a very conservative, slow approach. Did we agree with that all the way along? No.
Just the fact that
In the
you're making it
beginning,
look
I didn't
like
really
you're
care because
rational.
in the beginning I didn't care because I didn't think we had a product that I personally was proud to show the whole country in
You
TV
did care.
spots.
I'm talking about from January on. You did care. And when Howard announced he was going to Sirius, all of us thought, like, all right, now you got to push this show because we got to be in a position to fight or whatever. You know,
and we wanted them to push
starting January.
Starting January would have been nice. It didn't happen, but now we're in April, and now we got a big push happening. So it's a little slower than we wanted. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. But from October to January, you know, this show wasn't ready for a national platform. It just wasn't.
Okay,
Anthony
so
and I took 2.5 years off.
You're saying you agree with that, but in the beginning of this whole XM tangent, you're making it look like I have all of a sudden been this problem who's complaining about XM irrationally, and that these guys
Anthony,
and I love
Jimmy,
being here, and you know that.
Jimmy, yeah, but you don't acknowledge the good things that are happening
Are you?
in Washington.
Of course I do.
Not a lot, bro. Not
Like
a
what?
lot. You're always always looking for the other side of something. Why there was the channel blocking, script. Why we weren't mentioned in the letter.
And I was right both times.
No,
Maybe
you're
channel
not.
blocking way
No,
one
you're
thing,
not.
but I was right
No, you're
about the
not.
other one.
No, you're not.
Okay, then
You're
you
really
agreed
not.
dishonestly. You agreed with me dishonestly.
No, I'm not going to explain it again. When it came up on the show, you brought up a good point. I'm like, whoa, yeah, we got to look into this. And you're 100% right about that, 100% right. But then I wrote some emails. Anthony and I talked to Eric Logan, and I'm completely satisfied now that they were just trying to make a joke that was just dumb.
Possible.
Dumb.
Why were there no other
Dumb.
options? Had there been other options, I would totally believe that, but there were
Because
no
when
other
you're making a TV spot, you're like, all of a sudden something hits you. Like, well, I think this would make a great TV spot. So let's get 6 or 8 different versions of this and then record it, and we'll pick the best one. But then Ant and I jumped in and said, no, this is just not funny. It's not working. I totally believe it. Completely now. Completely.
Okay. Just like you believe that one I could swallow more than that's the why you weren't mentioned in the rate hike.
Well, that's fine.
You can.
I believe that too.
Okay, good for you.
I don't think I think it's bad business. I don't agree with their decision, but I believe their intentions definitely.
Okay, good.
Definitely. Didn't make me happy.
Oh no, you're right. Their intentions were good. I'm nuts for thinking that.
Dude,
paranoid.
It was Opie and Anthony coming off the premium. We're raising your service $3 a month.
No.
How is that good?
Because that's not what it was.
Basically, that's what it was.
No, it was,
that was the 2 points in that letter.
Baseball.
That's the 2 points.
I'll tell you, baseball. Free online streaming, and when you have a show that you're proud of,
baseball was already happening.
When you have a good show that you're proud of, you're saying to people, this justifies the rate hike to a certain degree. Hey guys, look what you're getting now. We're raising the price. Look what
Baseball
you're getting.
was already happening. So they were basically announcing we're coming off the premium, and oh, by the way, we're raising everything $3.
But they didn't mention you were coming off the premium in the letter. That was my problem with the letter. They just said high voltage.
That's fine. That's fine.
To me, if you have a show that you're proud of and you're raising people's rates and you're saying, look, but now you're getting this great show for free, that's not a way of a bad thing for the show. That's saying, look, people, look what you're getting as a part of this rate hike. That's being proud of the show.
Nah, they're proud of the show. You have no idea.
Okay. Then I have no idea.
You don't. You don't. They're definitely proud of the show.
Okay, good.
You know? Get on the phone with Eric Logan more, and you'll see for yourself.
I've talked
The
to
guy's
him.
fighting his balls
Dude,
off. Versus
you don't
Washington,
need to
and
tell me about Logan. I love Logan.
And he's changed a lot of people's opinions down there. If they,
Whoa, change their opinions. You mean their opinions needed to be changed?
I don't. It seems like
Why
that.
would you say that? You made me look like I'm
According to
crazy,
you.
and now you're
According
saying,
to you.
oh, okay. Oh, right. Yeah, I feel the same way.
Just the
Fine.
fact that gears got changed in mid-argument to a whole new argument just is too telling.
I didn't change gears.
There's obviously tension between you two that's been simmering. That's all I see. That's what I see. And no, I'm not jumping on anyone's side in this argument. I'm being questioned here. Where's Anthony jumping? I'm not jumping in. I'm not getting between this. But obviously there's tension here. You know, I know Jimmy very well. I know Opie very well. I see some tension. I know Jay Moore very well.
Jay, we'll get you in a sec. I'm sorry.
I don't want Jay Moore waiting. I'm kidding. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. Sorry, bro.
Exciting. Who the F knows? I don't know. But, wow. Oh, I should mention we're on YouTube right now. We're trying some live event thing on my YouTube channel. Opie Radio. Nice cheap plug.
Yeah, I can't stop looking at the camera. I don't know how to operate when there's cameras in here.
Anthony Cumia show, right there. You're lucky enough to get in? Oh, don't worry. Everyone will make it in eventually. Hi. Happy Easter special here that we're running. The free broadcast today. Hope you enjoy it. Of course, pressing issue on everyone's mind. What ship am I using on EVE Online? Well, I'm using the Navy Raven. What? No, that wasn't okay. Phones are open for this entire show. Of course, a lot of people with a lot of questions about what's going on with Opie and Anthony. The Opie and Anthony show, juggernauts of broadcasting for just about 20 years. That ended last July. I then put this together with the assistance of some very smart, talented, creative, motivated people. And now we're doing this. Opie is doing a show with Jim Norton over at SiriusXM Satellite Radio. There have been little jabs taken back and forth since July. A lot of speculation, a lot of finger pointing, blame, innuendo, rumor, whatever you want to call it. I call it horse shit in some senses of the word. I don't like when things are said about me that are not true. God, where to start? I guess over this weekend we heard this other thing that was going to be going on with Opie and Anthony. The split show. Opie had brought up that that he saw this this Opie and Anthony thing coming to an end. Saw the end was near, and had some ideas as to how to keep the brand alive and keep this thing going in some capacity with everybody involved. And one of the ideas was splitting the show. I gotta tell you, in all honesty, I've never heard of this. This was never discussed. It makes no sense. Is Jimmy supposed to be there for 15 hours a day, perhaps, to do a morning show and then an afternoon show? I don't know. But that was never brought up to me, as were a lot of things were not brought up to me. I heard from Opie many times since I've been fired on his show, on posts, Facebook or Twitter or what have you, that the end was near. It was obvious the end was near. We hadn't spoken off the air for 10 years. I heard that one too. And I won't argue the point that, boy, we really weren't talking very much. But that doesn't in any way take away from what was going out on the air. The show was working. It was still good. It wasn't the end of the fucking... I've worked with people that I didn't have discussions with over the years and did very well. You don't necessarily need a let's hang out on the phone and chit-chat relationship when you work with somebody. The show was working. We came in. We talked about, you know, a few of the issues of the day, and then we throw the mics on, and what happened, happened, and people seem to have liked it over the years. Just because we weren't palling around doesn't mean that the show didn't work or that anyone was ready to move on. And he has said since I got fired that he knows that I wanted to move on. This is absolutely untrue. I wasn't going anywhere. I was the guy that would have signed a 5-year deal. It's an easy job. You go in, you make some jokes, you talk about shit with your friends, and you go home after a ridiculously short amount of time. And then you make a ridiculous amount of money. That's the job. How could anyone find something bad in that? If the phones break for a day, who gives a shit? It's still the greatest job you're ever gonna have, even with broken phones. I just never understood the cloud of doom that was in the studio a lot. I gotta say, everyone else on staff was really kind of pleasant, understanding that this is a dream job. And sometimes there were certain situations that were not pleasant to be around. You gotta be honest. And Opie is the kind of guy that his mood will dictate the room. It will put a mood over the room. If E-Rock was in a bad mood, who gave a shit? We'd call him out on it. Jimmy's in a bad mood. It would rile things for a second, but then Jimmy would make a joke about it or something. It always seemed if Opie had a problem, it would permeate the studio and permeate the mood in the studio and make it rather difficult to transition back into having fun and having a good time and doing radio, doing the radio that we wanted to do. So when I hear things like I was ready to move on, and he could tell that the end was near, and not a hint. I was never ready to move on. And every contract negotiation, I wrote about this on Twitter, every contract negotiation reached a point where everyone was waiting to see what Opie would do. And look, I'm not going to sit here and go, hey, you know, everyone's contract negotiation tactic should be this, that, or the other thing. If that's what he felt was a good negotiating tactic, fine. But maybe an explanation to everyone else, like the staff and his coworkers and things like that, might have been nice, because we sat there in the dark. And after hearing throughout the entire tenure of a contract how he's not signing unless big things change, fuck this place, I'll do something else, I'll move on, I don't need this shit anymore, like all that, it tends to get in your head when the guy that you're working with has that mindset that he's leaving. Fuck this, fuck that, fuck that. So we were under the impression, and I mean the whole staff, that at some point he was bailing. He was bailing out. And when I got fired in July, I absolutely assumed that that was it for the O&A or O&J or O show, whatever. I thought he was done with that, might, as he said in the past, move on to something else, which is fine. But it didn't happen that way. And I really don't want to sound like the old sour grapes, because that isn't what this is about. It's about misconceptions about me on the show. I don't like when I read stuff that isn't true at all. I never wanted to leave the show. I was having a great time. This wasn't a purposeful thing. You know, I would have stuck it out there. Like I said, dream job. Fuck, I don't want that. The other thing is management over there. Management and the on-air combat. They're just bumping heads constantly. I don't have a clue what was said to management by anyone on air. Opie or Jimmy, but I will always give Jimmy the benefit of the doubt because he doesn't have the juice over there that Opie has. He didn't have the juice that I had over there, and I got fired. So, you know, I understand Jimmy tiptoeing around, and he can't take the lead on saying where the show will or won't go with or without me on it. So I just don't know if anything was said down the hall that would have made an impact to get me back. Because I truly believe that Opie did want to move on. and that was a good opportunity. So I don't know. I've heard many times when people say, hey, what the fuck? What'd you do? Did you go in there? Did you say something? He goes, look, you guys don't know, but I fought behind the scenes. And then people go, well, what'd you do? How'd you do it? I don't know. I don't know. And the onus is always on me to make a phone call, I guess. I don't know why I'm the one that always has to make the phone call. I've read so many tweets over this weekend since this whole thing started. Hey, Anthony, you know, why don't one of you guys just pick up the phone and sort it out? This isn't a pick up the phone and sort it out thing. This isn't something that just popped up over the weekend. This is years in the making. And I don't understand. For how much I haven't picked up the phone, he hasn't either. And I think there are a lot more opportunities where the guy that still has the gig should call the guy that got fired. You know? I mean, I've sent the ghoul, Bob Eatman, a liaison over there to SiriusXM to see what the deal was, what was going on. And believe me, I'm persona non grata. Not welcome. You see this? It means not welcome. I'll cut off your Shylock nose. I'm not welcome. It's not up to me. The ball was never in my court, as it were. So, I don't know what happened, but I have said, and I have tweeted this. I know for fuck well that goddamn management machine that's in place over there knows shit about what's good or bad or indifferent on their airwaves. They know widgets. They know to hire a celebrity du jour and give them a fucking channel for a year or so. That gets nobody listening. What they don't know is what's good on the air. And the Opie and Anthony show was good on the air. Very good. So I know that if the situation had been reversed, I'd have fought tooth and nail with the fuckers that were constantly undermining the program. I wouldn't have done any less than threaten to have left. Would I have? I don't know. But I at least would have played that card. I at least would have made it loud and public, like the English Top Gear guys did. Got a lot of press for it. A lot of things. Just would have been a good move. Would have looked good. It would have saved Opie, I think, a lot of grief that he's been getting from fans over these past few months. It would have at least looked good. And it might have actually done something. But I honestly, looking at the byproduct of what happened and looking at what he says on the air and tweets and everything else, I don't think that ever happened. I don't think the gauntlet was ever laid down. I don't think a very strong argument was made to keep me on the show. And if that's what he wanted, fine. But don't bullshit and say that, you know, that was the big fucking push I made. Because I frankly don't see it. And to say management is very happy with the direction of the show now is ludicrous. If Opie doesn't believe that people have listened to the show over the years and heard everyone on air rail about how much the management knows nothing about radio, knows nothing about what makes good radio. Over the years, this has been a fucking battle cry of the Opie and Anthony show. To then say management is happy with the show tells me one thing. If it's true, that the show fucking sucks. Who wants that management team to like the show? Christ almighty. God, please. They like Jenny Hutt. Kidding, Jenny. I like Jenny. Very cute. But it's all of these hypocrisies and these confusing little signals that are being put out there. I honestly want nothing more than to just let people know what the fuck the deal is. And, you know, they could deal with it themselves. I don't want to get on the phone with Opie and have some kind of a 1950s Doris Day fucking split screen conversation from our bed with our slippered foot up in the air back and forth as we discuss things. Ain't gonna happen. I don't want to sit and have a beer with him and discuss something. What? Why? And it's not a radio bit to put it on the air. It's just an honest airing. I think we owe it to the people that made us successful to not go behind some closed door because we have a fear of what? Airing our dirty laundry? We've done it for years. We've aired the fucking dirty laundry of other people, ourselves, everything. So, you know, what are you afraid of, Senator? What is that? Ace Rothstein. I'm here. What are you afraid of, Senator? Come on my show. What the hell is he doing? He's juggling? Let me juggle. Oh, Christ almighty. It just, I guess it got very tense with the Opie and Anthony show at NEW. But that was that at least had some type of reason, if you could believe it or not. Me and Opie and our respective girlfriends / wife, my wife at the time, were very good friends. We used to go out in Huntington all the time. I barely remember having dinner alone back then. It was usually with Opie and Sandy and me and Jennifer. And it was, you know, it was great. It was a lot of fun. Very, very new, back in New York after the Boston debacle and shit like that. And it was very exciting, new, and bright broadcasting future in the #1 market and back home again. It was fucking thrilling. I think it's the only reason I stayed married for so fucking long after that, because, you know, it was kind of a distraction. When the marriage ended and I hooked up with Melinda, and, you know, he could say what he wants, there was a problem there. He had a problem with my girlfriend. We had a great foursome relationship between me, him, his girlfriend, and my wife at the time, and I think busting that up, there was resentment. His girlfriend still was friends with my ex-wife, which, you know, put him in a weird position. I get that. But the way my girlfriend was then treated was abominable. I mean, like a second-class citizen piece of shit, and it was directly disrespectful to me at that time. And I wasn't gonna have it. But I took it for the preservation of the show. And you'll notice this is a thing that weaves its way through this story until July of last year. Not rocking the boat, not fucking saying anything. As they call it on Reddit, I don't know who brought this up or made it up, but it is one of the most brilliant things I've ever heard, walking on Greg shells. This is a common denominator that you will see and hear about for our entire tenure at the Opie and Anthony show. So I knew my girlfriend was being disrespected. I didn't go after him balls out because I knew that would have caused a problem with the show. Which makes you hate yourself. This is another common factor with the show. There's nothing worse than you feeling impotent and feeling like you are compromising and being shit on, but you can't do anything about it. Something's being held over your head that you dare not say anything. This is also a common factor. And you could, you know, call me a pussy, a faggot, a wimp, whatever. And I will agree. And that's why this, you know, you wind up hating yourself for not saying something. But the preservation of the show is number one. And I honestly think that the only reason we lasted 20 years was the amounts of times I kept my mouth shut in certain situations. I honestly do. Because as you have seen and heard on certain programs, Opie is not one of the best at taking criticism or even jokes on a comedy show. I've been there. I've sat there and watched Bob Kelly be decimated on the program, and then throw one joke out about Opie's shirt, and it becomes a real issue. Otto, the late brilliant Otto, was in and said something about the show when I'm not there, when Anthony's not there. And, you know, he lost his shit. And everyone had to say, it's a fucking joke. That's what, I don't understand what he was seeing when all these comics are beating the living shit out of each other. And then one, you know, a little collateral damage heads his way, and you know, all bets are off. You're now the asshole. And that, again, will get into your mind and make you think, I best just shut up. Greg shells. You know, it's very difficult to work and be honest and feel relaxed in an atmosphere like that when you know that someone is gonna fly off the handle. I don't think two people ripped each other apart more than me and Jim Norton. And the only thing better than getting Jimmy with a good fucking jab is him coming right back and getting you. There was nothing funnier than watching somebody that fast and funny decimate you. And I never understood why it was always taken so personally. Jim Norton, back in the early NEW days, was the first guy to really call out either myself or Opie on pronunciation errors, spelling errors, fucking whatever it is. And Jimmy would make them too, and we'd all, but it was this weird vibe that we always felt like, you know, if Opie made a mistake, you know, put your head down and don't mention it. Like, it's very hard to just go, hey, dummy, it's fucking this, without catching some shit. And I'm not talking about every day. I'm going to try to be as honest and open here. There were plenty of instances where, you know, Opie was sitting there and getting caught up in the fray, and he was fine with it. And that was great. But it was that weird, you don't know which way it's going, the uncertainty of it that really used to get people. And, you know, you didn't know which way it was going to go. So I didn't want to say anything early in that whole thing with me and my girlfriend. And that started building the whole thing. That's really where it started crumbling a bit as far as our off-air relationship went. On air, amazing. Some great shit. I'll never say the O&A show wasn't good because of anybody. It was fucking great. It did very well, very successful. But then the tensions behind the scenes started building up. A lot of people that left the show start bad-mouthing Opie. It just would happen. And Opie would sit there dumbfounded, like, why is, you know, oh, Ben Sparks is this, and he's doing this and saying this to me. Psycho Mark did this. Steve C said this and did this. Rick Delgado, that it was just everybody that left started bashing him. And I feel weird being put in this position. Like I'm the latest in this line of people that have had a problem over the years. But people have had a problem over the years. And there's this underlying superiority that needs to be put in place when Opie's involved in something. It's me and Jimmy heard it all the time, and believe me, I'm not implicating Jimmy in any of this. Jimmy has nothing to do with what I'm saying and what I'm doing here today. Believe me. But Opie has told me and Jimmy, I've been in the room when it's happened, when certain instances come up and we've had a little tip or something like that, where Opie's like, look, I'm not your fucking boss. I'm not your boss. When you know, his opinion would hold more weight than anyone else's. He wasn't our boss, but there was a feeling in the room that you better listen to what he says, or the show is gonna suck for at least that day, maybe even that week. You know, maybe that week there'd be no eye contact because you said something or did something. I hated that. It was bad enough with management. We didn't need anyone in the studio giving us grief, looking at us sideways, not looking at us at all. It put a fucking pissed mist over the whole fucking studio. And it was not a fun environment to be in. Again, this wasn't every day, and it wasn't, maybe it was an even split, I don't know. But there always seemed to be a problem. And that problem was never the problem. It was how much he got pissed off at the problem. The phones are broke. Mars, the phones are broke. Let's see if we can fix them next break. We just won't take a call. And then maybe you could come in and...
I'm out of range. That's still recharging. I can't cancel.
I love Mars, but when he used to come in, phones are broke. Well, it was very funny. But then, you know, to throw the phones. One time hitting Jimmy with the... and then be like, you know, this place... And it was like, now you've escalated the problem. We could do the show without the phones. But now we can't really do the show with you in that mood. And that permeated the whole thing. So, this, obviously, shit like this would carry over off the air. I didn't want to be part of that. I didn't want to be part of that off air. I could deal with it on air. You hear me. You hear me deal with it on air. There's no shortage of clips of me dealing with Opie in a bad mood on the air and trying my damnedest to avoid those rocks and get back on fucking track. It would just happen. But that kind of carried over. I didn't want to do the hangout afterwards. And our lives were changing. Very much so. The married, having kids and everything. And fucking God bless him. I'm not even kidding here. I'm not fronting, as you kids sometimes say. I honestly wish him the best like that. It's great. That's what he wanted. A fruitful life, wife, kids. You got it. I never understood why so angry all the time. Why so angry? I yelled a lot. I yell a lot on the show. But if you listen to those, it's usually followed up with me laughing at myself for getting so mad at nothing. Or Jimmy would turn around and go, what are you yelling about? And I'm like, I don't know. And it was fun. It was like self-deprecation, I think, was such an important part of the Opie and Anthony show. And getting mad, everyone gets mad, but you can't, you instantly have to look at where you are and assess it and think to yourself, this really does come off as being petty and stupid if I'm actually mad at this, while I have a dream job.
It's too far away.
You know, 7 fucking figures to sit there for 4 hours a day. You can't ask for more than that. Even if you were getting dicked in the ass for that kind of money, it would still rule. We're making jokes. We're hanging out with comics and actors, and so what? The phones are broke. So again, this is just more of the building rolling snowball that became this, you know, the gorilla in the room, the thing that made it so we didn't communicate that much. And I am in no way exonerating myself or saying that I didn't contribute to the tension. Again, disliking yourself for your lack of initiative during a dispute. Gritting your teeth with an apology when you know you weren't wrong. Oh, you married dudes know what I'm talking about. You appease the wife by apologizing, and then you go in the room and fucking can't even look in the mirror. That is what you get when you're in a 20-year partnership in business, in any way, you know. And for those that say, you know, why don't you two call each other? Why don't you do that? Look, we're both in our fucking 50s, and we had a business partnership together. Just because we weren't sharing warm showers doesn't mean we can't fucking run the business. You know? I'm sure Ben and Jerry had some fucking issues. Fuck you and your shitty ice cream flavor. Fuck you. I'm putting nuts in it. Put your nuts in it. Go fuck you. Shit like that. Sure, it happened. You think Simon and Garfunkel were all smiles on that stage in Central Park years ago? That packed park? Oh. I am just a poor boy, though my story's seldom dick. I have squandered my for a pocket full of mumbles. This motherfucker, I can't stand this prick. Sure, it happened. It just happens. But there's no need to feel like you gotta pull the plug or not go to bat for the business.
I'm out of range.
So we work up through NEW, we get fired from there, and then we end up at Sirius XM Satellite Radio. Jim Norton's aboard by the NEW point, but now we're the 3 of us going into this new venture together and everything, and it was again very renewed, very exciting. You know, we were back from the dead, and that was very cool. But again, the ham-handedness of Opie a lot of times would cause this resentment and detriment. I found over the years that Opie has a very hard time dealing with people, just being a people person. There are basic things that I think most people know to do and not to do, and to have a good working relationship. I literally had to tell Opie once. And again, the Greg Shell walk, I had to go like, oh, come here, man. I understand, you know, stuff. And I know they're interns and stuff, and the boss, but people don't like being snapped at.
Too far away.
I had to say this. Because he'd be like this, like, yeah, we... And then an intern would come running. It's like, people don't like being snapped. Like, that to me is something you should just know. There's a self-awareness you need. And and I would see these things, and I'd be flabbergasted a lot of times. I just never knew where that came from. But that is that mindset there. And if it was a, hey, I just care so much about the show that I don't care about, you know, what people are feeling in this, I need to get this show. If that was the case, fine. But especially when we got over to Sirius, not so much the XM portion, because that was a whole different animal. But when we were doing the K-Rock thing and the Sirius thing, after the K-Rock thing, the XM K-Rock thing, and then over to Sirius, we all just fucking dropped the ball. I'll be honest, there was barely any show preparation going on, if any. There was nothing going on. I mean, you'd get the usual sheets from the staff, which were great. They'd have, you know, things that were in the news and sound clips and stuff like that, which were great. But we never did any real prep. My prep was listening to 1010 Wins on the way in. And if a story, you know, struck my fancy, I'd talk about it. I think as far as winging it, we were probably the best in the business. But with just a tad bit of preparation, it could have been better. And if that motivation and that lack of, I honestly, lack of respect for other people on the staff was just due to, like, well, you know, at least he's putting his all into it, then I really wouldn't have an argument here. It's like, that's how people handle it. Imagine Louis C.K. with everything he's doing, that hands-on approach he has with his show, and a staff member going, wow, Louis is really a prick on set or here. You'd say, look what he's doing. How about looking at the credits of his show? It's his name, half the fucking names. What the hell is he doing? He's there with a flute doing the music. But, you know, we all got very lazy on the Opie and Anthony show. One thing I didn't realize until I was booted out the door and had to do this program, and it's all based on what I look at and read through, and the staff comes up with, and we look at it beforehand, come up with a bit or a storyline upstairs or something. That's kind of when I realized, wow, I really did just kind of fall into this complacency over at the O&A show. We all do, as I say. So there was really no reason for that just abuse. I don't know how involved Keith wants to get in this, but Keith had a short tenure as the Club Soda Kenny for Opie. Now, this isn't just to fucking shit on Opie. Believe it or not, this isn't a let's shit on Opie thing. I want to try to convey to the people what was going on behind the scenes of the show like this. And the only way to do it is really get in there and realize the personality that we were dealing with, and how much conflict can be made just from a personality glitch. Then that has nothing to do with calling up the person on the phone. It's just an innate personality. His, mine, other people on the staff that just, they're a little combative with each other. That's all I'm trying to say. So Keith, at some point, what year was that about, Keith?
What are we talking about? Which incident?
It's when you had to, you know, pretty much be the Club Soda Kenny.
Well, I filled in for Club Soda Kenny a lot after when we got to the serious thing, when Kenny retired from his job, and then I would fill in. And it was, you know, look,
tense.
It was tense, and I think the worst out of all of it was the time when there was a snowstorm, and I was driving up the Wantor Parkway, and hit something in the road. My check engine light came on, so I text you. I stopped. I picked you up in the truck. I said, you know, do you mind if I go with you? And that was the time we were supposed to go and pick. I was supposed to pick up Opie in the morning because that was Kenny's job.
Yeah.
And I texted him to tell him I was going to be there. I was coming in with you. And then we pulled up in front of the studio, and that was at K-Rock. and he was getting out of a cab, and I was still had plenty of time to go get him, and I said, "Hey, I was just coming to get you," and he's like, what am I even paying you for? What are you doing here? And I stood there and I was like, why don't you just go home?
He was gonna send you home.
And I looked at him, I'm like, you know, and that was it. I mean, at that time I was a sergeant in the police department. I called Kenny and I told him, I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not gonna be treated like this.
Yeah.
Because I said, look, I reached out to you, and he goes, no, you didn't. And that was the time we used BlackBerry Messenger, and you saw that it was red, and I said, I let you know I was coming, and he just chose to treat me like shit, and I wasn't going to deal with it anymore. I didn't feel that, you know, after so much that I felt I contributed to the show from 1999 with everything we did, that it wasn't right to be treated that way. And
there wouldn't have been any homeless shopping spree or mustard. You brought mustard in. God. I'm a crap. Yeah, like stuff like that. There has to be a self-awareness that people have. Like, wow, let me try to see how people are seeing me, and let me try to figure out why everyone that I have worked with in the past always shit talks me in some capacity afterwards. That maybe there isn't this weird cosmic connection between all of the people that have left and said some shitty things. Maybe in the old mirror, as they say. And I'm not innocent in all of this. I know that. I pulled some shenanigans over the years that had pissed people off. I know that. But there's just not this constant running theme of being disrespectful and angry and nasty to people that you work with. And again, this is something I didn't want to deal with outside of work. So there was no socializing. Why, you know, Opie said over the past couple of weeks, you know, well, we barely talked in 10 years of doing the O&A show. Well, explain why. Explain why we haven't spoken. Don't just throw shit out there like that. Don't just throw shit out there like, I fought for Anthony. Tell how you did it. This would help you. This would help you from the haters that are out there hating. And you know what I hear? The hater's gonna hate. The player's gonna play. You know what you should do? Shake it off. You just have to do a little, like, you know, self-assessment and see what is pissing people off. And that did it. That was really it was very difficult to communicate with somebody that was just, man, I don't know what it is. I don't know. A lifestyle, the money, I know there was like an ambition to be bigger. And that, you know, I'll be honest, that carried over with me also. We had a great run at NEW. I think the pinnacle of our careers were when we were syndicated around the country and over on NEW. It was FM radio, and, you know, that was huge. It was huge. And I think there was a lot of self-doubt after we got fired and had to reboot on satellite radio. At that time, satellite radio was for rejects and any celebrities they would give a channel to. And we were damaged goods, and that's how we ended up over there. So it was very humble at that point. But some people just refuse to be humble. And, you know, at that point, you really got to look and not blurt shit out like we're the best. And, you know, sometimes you just got to take a breath and go, wow, we got to rebuild this and really, you know, appreciate the fan base. And listen to them sometimes. Cater to some of the concerns of the fan base. Some of you people are just fucking assholes. Believe me, I know that. But some have good ideas. Sometimes you get caught up in where you are and what you're doing, and you lose track of what people initially liked you for and enjoyed listening to you for. And you lose that, and you lose your fan base. And, you know, I never wanted to do that. I honestly do enjoy going out and doing things. And I liked those bar appearances and hanging out with people. It was a lot of fun. And I do blame SiriusXM for a lot of that because they just stopped letting us do things. They figured as long as we were just shoved in a fucking closet studio somewhere, we would do the show. And they wouldn't have to deal with sales or other people or getting the equipment or going out there. So, you know, that became a problem. That made a lot of tension between the air staff. I just relegated myself to the belief that that's what it was going to be. And I was fine with it. I liked being in there on a daily basis, joking around and having guests come in and doing interviews and shit like that. I kind of knew that was happening, and you could only make the best of what you have to work with, instead of just being miserable about it and you know, we don't have this, we don't have that. Well, we have this. Let's work on it. Let's just do that. Again, the broken phone syndrome. Phone? It's fucking weird. I miss Morris.
He's gonna do the phones in the new studio.
Yes, very good. We'll have our new studio in New York City coming up this summer, and yeah, we'll get Mars to do the phone. Anthony, so again, the resentment, that feeling that that there's just doom and gloom. It's like a living anxiety attack is waiting there for you. I drive in the morning and just like lose my mind with getting like that whoosh, acidy, whooshy adrenaline feeling driving in, wondering if it's going to be, you know, one of those days or one of those days. And I gotta just thank God for Jimmy Norton. Opie said, like, oh, if it wasn't for Jimmy, the show would have broken up. Probably not, because if you've noticed, one of my greatest talents over 20 years wasn't my Ronald Reagan impression. But Jimmy definitely gave that buffer to in between me and Opie when it was one of those days where we were having an issue, or if Opie was having an issue with Jimmy or something, there would be a buffer day like that. But I didn't feel like I was going to leave the show. So to hear that, I get kind of, it kind of pisses me off. How it gets to this point, I don't know. Little shots had been taken over the past few months. I would have liked to have believed early on that there was kind of a fight to get me back and stuff. But when I started realizing and thinking realistically and looking at the forensic evidence, I don't think there was much of a fight. And if there was, I would like to hear what it was. And I would like to hear, and I've heard some stuff from certain people that peruse the hallways of SiriusXM. So it's not like I'm completely speculating. And I never heard word one about how I was battled for. If the Opie and Anthony brand was so important as to keep it alive by putting old clips up, then it was important enough to keep alive in every sense of the word by going into Scott Greenstein and raising some holy hell, getting press for it, regardless of the outcome. It might have worked out the same exact way. You and Jimmy over there, me over here, but at least the fans would have gone like, wow, Opie fucking, you know, went to bat at least. Opie is being shit on by the fans, not because of anything I've said or done. You know, you got to take some personal responsibility. I've gotten shit on in the past by the fans. I realize it. I see it. And again, some of them are just assholes, but some have viable reasonings for giving you shit. So now we're here which is Opie and Jimmy are doing a show over there, which management is very happy with, I hear. And I do the show from here, which I am very happy with. I enjoy doing this. It's fun. I don't get an upset tummy walking down the stairs coming to do this. There's a lot going on in the future of this program, things in the works. So will me and Opie at some point even speak on the air? Well, he tweeted something out over the weekend that said, you know, we'll grab a beer. I'm not going to do a radio bit of, you know, going on your show or anything. I'll go on his show if, you know, Sirius allows me in the fucking building after putting that wanted poster of me up. But, and it's not a bit. What do you think? 20 odd years of doing radio with you, and I want to do a bit? If there's anybody that has teased a thing over the years and made bits out of things, it wasn't me. I just want to have an open discussion that the fans would be privy to. Because I think hashing things out first and then talking gives an element of, like you're hiding something. Or trying to deal with something before you talk about it. I'm not ashamed or embarrassed of anything. And I would gladly sit and talk about anything that Opie would want to talk about, like that. But I don't see a reason to grab a bit. What? So we can, you know, because I'll tell you one thing. On air, it would be very difficult for either of us to get away with pulling bullshit when the eyes and ears of everybody that was a fan of the show are on you and me. It's very easy to pull the, you know, and whatever. I don't want to sit with that. I don't want to sit in that atmosphere, in that mood. I've done it too many times. I don't want to do it. And on air, you can't get away with that shit. They will fucking kill you. They're piranha, and they will kill you. So I'm not open to sitting in private and having a little fucking discussion like I did trying to settle my divorce. But I want to, you know, open it up. We've done radio. Why wouldn't this be on the radio? Why wouldn't it be? So, you know, your show, my show, I don't care. Both shows via Skype. I don't give a shit. But, you know, you got to open it up to the people, you know. It's the only way it's going to keep it honest as a discussion. Or you don't want to, which again is fine with me too. I don't really have a horse in the race anymore as far as the Opie and Anthony show goes. You know, it was great. It was a great fucking show for many years, but I don't know. I love the people over there were great. With that's another thing I wanted to bring up, the basic contract negotiations, because a few tweets were sent across the field of fire concerning that. I never encountered more stress than when Bob Eatman, our agent, would call and say, well, I'm going to start talking to Sirius. First of all, it was probably 3 hours before the contract was up that he would decide it was time to start talking to the fucking company. He would start negotiating, and I would get anxiety because I knew where this was going every fucking time. Fuck them, I'm not signing. Oh, okay. All right. 7 digits, fucking that. We got more vacation time. We do that. Still not signing. No, fuck that. I want Fridays off. I want more money. I want this. I want that. I want. Just say it. You want what Howard wanted. Let's be open here. That contract. There was one time, and I'm not exaggerating. There was one time Sirius said, if that contract isn't signed, and I had signed mine already. Mine was fucking done. But, you know, mine was no good without his signature. If if that contract isn't signed by 6 on Monday morning, the deal's off the table. And there was no other deal. We were still fucking the, you know, church fuckers, as far as they're concerned. And he signed at 5:59. And that's not a move that's gonna, you know, management isn't sitting there going, wow, that guy. Wow, what a set of balls on him. God, he's amazing. No. They just probably went, haha, look, he signed. Whatever.
Did you get more money because he waited till 5:59?
No. No. You know what we got? Aggravation. The O&A show isn't just and wasn't just O&A. Or even Jimmy. It's a bunch of fucking people depending on that. Now, you could have reasons for wanting to leave and do things, and that's, you know, unfortunately, it's your own life, and even though people depend on you, there are instances where you have to live your own life and leave, and it's tragic and sad and whatever. That happens. But this wasn't one of those cases. This was a case of holding something, whether conscious of it or not. And I can't imagine how someone cannot be conscious that they are taking the people that they work with and putting them through a nervous hell. You can't have guys that are married and have kids, jobs, on 0 hour, wondering if they have a job in the next minute. You can't do that. It's mean. And it's something people would only do to hold something over other people's heads. When you have family men that are depending on their job, you can't give them 1 minute's notice that they might not work. It's But again, there's none of that self-awareness. That kind of shit makes people mad. That kind of shit gets people yapping behind the scenes and angry. I can't imagine someone not being aware that those actions are fucking with people's heads.
I want to say, though, when you did come home, if I was here taking care of stuff, you never showed it when you came home.
Wow. It was every contract. What the fuck is he doing? He's going to blow this deal for us. It was constant. I wanted long deals. He wanted short deals. I knew this was a great gig. I knew no one's banging our door down to give us other jobs as far as radio jobs went and shit like that. And no, they weren't offering us a 5-year deal at the same fucking salary for 5 years. Some of the contracts were backloaded where you'd have the same salary for 2 years and then it would go up the 3rd year. But the 4th and 5th year with like the big raises, they would be loaded like that. They call them backloaded contracts. And I was fine with that, knowing I would be there. Why sign something for 2 years with an inconsequential little raise, hoping that in the 3rd year, you're gambling, hoping that in the 3rd year, someone comes to have a bidding war with you? Because if they're not, they're going to fuck you on year 3, just like they did on 1 and 2. Lock in for 5. And if something happens, you could sue the shit out of them for the rest of your deal. It's a contract. That's how it works. But this, again, what does everyone want? I'll do the other thing. And that was every single contract negotiation. I want Fridays off. I don't care about Fridays off. You know what? You tell them you want Fridays off. You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna tack something else on, or take something else away. Vacation time, money, whatever it is. I didn't mind 5 days a week. Believe me. Once I started doing this, fuck you, I'm taking Friday. But I didn't mind 5 days a week. I would have, you know, I was going in there 5 days a week. That's, you know, that was the job. So that didn't matter to me much, but it was a deal breaker. Oh, well, if I don't get Fridays, fuck them. I'm gone. I'll do something else. That was always what I heard. I'll just go and do something else. Oh, really? What about these guys? What about fucking the staff and that? And, you know, are they going to do something else too? Are they going to go on vacation with some of that money that everyone contributed to making and, you know, hang out? I'm sure Travis can just fucking hang out on those millions he made over the past 20-something years and, you know, we'll just do something else. Lack of awareness, lack of fucking being self-aware was one of the most frustrating things. And I'll tell you right off the bat what the only problem Opie had with me was. That occasionally I would come in with a bit of a headache. All right. I did understand. Those hangover shows were probably not the greatest things, but I gave it my all. Our foibles, our crosses to bear, what have you. But, you know, the personality clashes were some of the worst things. The fights that we had, the on-air ones that you people had the pleasure of eavesdropping in on, the ones you never heard, you know, always biting the lip and just wanting to put the show back together and let's get back on track. You may remember an episode from F.H. Riley's. We were all hanging out. It was busy. I tweeted something to the effect of, holy shit, I can't get a seat. I'm waiting here for a beer. Like, just kind of trashing the staff there. And it was, believe me, it was tongue-in-cheek. I'm not sitting there shitting on his restaurant. But, oh my God, did he fucking unload. He unloaded on me, decided he wasn't going to show up for work.
Need help?
3 days, he just didn't show up for work. Didn't answer the boss's phone calls, didn't do anything. I was dragged into Scott Greenstein's office and told, you best fix this. If he's not back on the air, you're in trouble. What the fuck? I'm the one that's here. I'm doing the show. But that's the kind of that Greg Shell walk. Even management knew to do it.
Looking for something.
Can't tell you how many meetings I was in with management, phone calls with management that dealt with, and I'm sure Opie had a lot of phone calls with management about me. I'm not fucking, don't even try to think that I'm not saying he spent a lot of time with management on the phone about me. I understand that. But if he wants to go off about that, he's got a show. But they all knew. Well, you know, all right, how do we handle this? Have you talked to Greg about that? No, not yet. Oh, well, we gotta call him. And it was always this, oh boy, kind of a thing.